A pervert sneaks into the girl's home, only to witness. He felt like throwing up but managed to swallow it down. After making sure no one saw him, he quickly fled the house. Then, he texted the girl, saying he'd bring clients to visit her house. That way, when they walk in and become the first witness, he could clear the suspicion on him.
아무도 앉지 마라! 집이 엄청 깔끔해요. 대박.
The girl on the sofa disappeared. The man quickly checked every room. Not only was there no body, there wasn't even a single drop of blood. The man was completely baffled, suspecting the culprit must have dismembered the girl's body and taken it after he left. He didn't dare to call the police, because he was afraid his identity would be exposed. His name was Young-tae. By day, he was a real estate agent. By night, he transformed into a stalker, often sneaking into clients' homes to spy on their privacy. Each time, he would steal an insignificant item as his trophy to store his collections. He even rented a large warehouse where he hung the items on the walls to admire them. 5 months ago, Young-tae was waiting for his next prey when a beautiful girl appeared. Seeing she was scrolling through Instagram, he couldn't help but glance at her phone. He found the girl as interesting. Despite having a sausage in her mouth, she posted photos claiming she loved animals and was a vegetarian. The man's curiosity was piqued. He secretly followed her. After going through her mail, he learned her name was Sora. A quick search online revealed she was a popular influencer with over 300,000 followers. Her posts were mostly about luxury cars, designer handbags, and photos from trendy restaurants. She looked like a rich socialite, but why would she be living in such an old, rundown rental? After stalking her for some day, he noticed a shift. Her posts had changed from showing off luxury goods to promoting charity drives and fundraising efforts. Once, a kitten broke its leg, and she cried while live streaming it.
함수가 다리를 다쳐서 지금 병원 가는 길이에요.
The fans flooded her with praise for her kind heart, but this triggered suspicion in the man, because after noticing a few inconsistencies, he began to feel this wasn't the real Sora. He decided to come to her home and check it out. However, Sora had a keypad lock. Despite multiple attempts, Young-tae couldn't get in. This time, he even used flour, but
이게 뭐죠? 누가 비밀번호를 이렇게 한답니까?
just as Young-tae was about to give up, Sora unexpectedly showed up.
안녕하세요. 집 좀 내놓으려고 왔는데요.
She even handed the room key to him. The next day, Young-tae snuck inside. He sniffed the hand cream for a while and then took a picture of his trophies. Then he casually wiped down the sink.
뭐야 이거? 어우 속 시원해.
But what he didn't expect was the next time he sneaked in, he found the girl bleeding out, lying on the sofa, and when he came back a few hours later, the body had mysteriously disappeared. Young-tae had no choice but to pretend to stay calm and go back to work. Suddenly, he noticed a red envelope on the desk. Inside were photos of the girl's body and a picture of the man opening the door. One of the blood-stained photos even had a strand of short hair, probably his, left behind that day. The man panicked. If the police got these photos, he'd be completely screwed. To his shock, the police actually came to find him and started asking about Sora. It turned out just 2 hours earlier, Sora's best friend had rushed to the police station to report her missing. She explained 4 days ago, Sora had called her, saying she might be under surveillance. She asked her friend to call the police immediately if she lost contact. Officer Wu's investigation revealed Sora was like a ghost. No family contacts, no spending records, no GPS tracking. The only lead was the rental information from the real estate agent. Young-tae forced himself to stay calm and claimed Sora was one of his clients. He even handed over the room key. Officer Wu took the key and went to Sora's apartment to look for clues. On the carpet of the sofa, she found a bloodstain. Within 10 minutes, the forensic team arrived. They began conducting a luminol test inside the apartment. Watching from the shadows, Young-tae realized this could very well be a clue intentionally left by the culprit to make the police discover Sora's death and frame him for it. To prevent this from happening, he had to find the real culprit. Young-tae scoured Sora's social media accounts and found a suspicious person who had repeatedly insulted Sora in her live streams.
부족한 모습이지만 있는 그대로 보여드리려고 노력했고요.
When Young-tae clicked on the profile picture, he was shocked to find the person was actually Sora's best friend. The two seemed to be fake sisters. What's more, Her photos were mostly imitations of Sora's, but she had far fewer followers. This jealousy could have easily led to her making a dangerous mistake. By analyzing the background of the video she posted, Young-tae quickly pinpointed her home. He waited until she went out, then quietly snuck in through the window. After rummaging around, he actually found the red envelope. Inside the box was a few sheets of paper, chat logs between her and an online user. Young-tae searched the user's profile and discovered he was a fan of Sora's, constantly leaving provocative comments on her posts. What was even crazier was every time Sora checked in at a new location, this guy would go there the next day to take photos, copying her poses and expressions exactly. Young-tae deduced the girl was jealous of Sora, and the online user, who was obsessed with Sora but couldn't have her, teamed up to kill her, but he needed evidence. So, he decided to go home and organize his findings. However, as soon as he entered his apartment, he sensed something was off. The shoes that were usually neatly arranged had been moved. The electrical circuit breaker had been tampered with. Panicking, Young-tae grabbed a baseball bat. Just as he was about to search the apartment, he suddenly heard a noise outside the door. Turning around, he saw someone trying to pick the lock.
누구세요?
Young-tae cautiously approached the door, locked it, and then suddenly swung it open, only to find a red envelope outside. As he reached to grab it, a figure in black appeared behind him. Before he could react, the person quickly strangled him while also unlocking the door, and another person in a black helmet entered. Outnumbered 2 to 1, Young-tae quickly found himself at a disadvantage. As the black-clad person held him, he yanked off their helmet, revealing it was the online user. This confirmed everything Young-tae had suspected. He rushed out of his apartment and immediately went to the police station to report the incident. But when they returned home, they found the place in complete disarray. The man was hanging from the ceiling. On the floor was another red envelope. Officer Wu picked it up. Inside were photos of Young-tae and the online user together, along with pictures of the man entering Sora's apartment. Now, no matter how much Young-tae tried to explain, he would be unable to clear his name. His only option was to flee. Young-tae was now wanted nationwide. He believed he had been framed by Sora's best friend. In a fit of rage, he barged into her live stream, demanding she tell the truth. In the struggle, she revealed to him that Sora was far from the beautiful angel everyone thought she was, a fallen devil. Sora was born into a poor family. Her younger brother was a mentally disabled fool. To pay off her online loans, Sora actually sold her brother to human traffickers. Thankfully, her parents found out in time and kicked her out of the house. Sora then moved to Seoul, where she worked as a hostess in nightclubs. Eventually, she became obsessed with luxury goods. But when she couldn't keep up with the expenses, she decided to become an influencer to make money. She claimed to run a large rescue center for stray cats and dogs, using it to scam donations from kind-hearted people. She even taught her best friend how to fight online to increase their exposure and engagement, then split the donations with her to further exploit people's sympathy. She went so far as to break a kitten's leg, then cried on livestream, claiming she was taking it to the vet. In one night, she managed to rake in millions in donations. While watching the playback, Sora zoomed in and noticed a figure. At first, she thought he was just a pervert, but when she saw him again at a cafe, Sora realized she had been stalked. All the dirty things she had done might now be exposed. If he went around spreading the truth, everything she had worked for would be ruined. She had to make him shut up totally. That's when she came up with a perfect plan to frame him. The girl drew 2 pounds of blood from her arm. She spilled half on the floor, dropped a single drip near the door, and then poured the rest into a pot to boil. After that, she put her pajamas on the pillow and started stabbing it dozens of times. Then, she spread the blood evenly over the pajamas. Right before the stalker was about to pick the lock, she held her breath and lay down on the couch. When the stalker got inside, he happened to step right on that drop of blood, leaving evidence of his entry. Then, he saw the body on the couch. After the man fled in panic, then, the girl pulled out a hair, the same length as the man's, and placed it near the blood puddle. Snapping a photo, She even took a photo of her body to use as blackmail against the stalker.
얼굴 크게 나왔다.
Finally, after cleaning up, she left a drop of blood under the couch, so the police would find it. Young-tae became a major suspect as she planned, but Young-tae dug deeper and found out the man who helped the girl. To prevent Young-tae from uncovering more clues, the two decided to go all in, killing him. They ambushed Young-tae's house, going 2 against 1. But to their surprise, not only did they fail, but Young-tae also saw the man's face. The man, terrified of getting caught, begged to surrender and wanted to implicate Sora. Sora, acting all innocent and vulnerable, gave him a passionate kiss to lower his guard. The next second, after the man died, Sora started carrying out Plan B. She went to a baseball field and used the pitching machine to bruise herself up. Then, she went straight to Young-tae's house. She first stabbed herself in the leg, and while Young-tae was still in a daze, she raised the knife and charged at him. The two of them began to struggle. When the police were about to arrive, Sora screamed for help. Ripped off Young-tae's shirt and trapped him with her legs. When the police burst in, they immediately raised their guns and yelled. The girl, looking innocent and pitiful, was successfully rescued, leaving the bewildered man being forcefully pressed against the wall by the police. While Young-tae was pinned down, Sora even gave him a sly, triumphant look, but unexpectedly, Young-tae managed to escape. He hid in an internet cafe, watching the live stream where Sora was crying, claiming she'd been abused. Her fans, feeling sorry for her, flooded the chat with virtual gifts, including rockets, making Sora a lot of money. While Sora was recovering in the hospital, she got a simple sketch from Young-tae. The note told her to go somewhere to pick up the photo, or he'd hand it over to the cops. Too scared to ignore him, Sora reluctantly agreed. When they met, though, Young-tae didn't mention the photo at all. Instead, he asked her about the stray dogs she'd been adopting. It turned out Young-tae had been following her for a while and noticed she always posted about adopting stray dogs. But every time she went out for a walk, there were only 5 dogs with her. The others, never seen again after entering her house.
후원금 벌려고 진짜 걔네들 다 죽인 거야? 걔네들 안 불쌍했어?
불쌍? 나는 내가 제일 불쌍해. 나는 뭐 걔들 죽이면서 마냥 좋았는 줄 알아? 나도 울었어. 근데 너무 많으면 감당이 안 되는데 뭐 어떡해? 나도 먹고 살려면 어쩔 수 없는데 어떡해?
Then, Sora knocked the man unconscious. When Young-tae woke up, he was tied to the ground, and Sora was sealing the room with tape.
유서는 내가 써놨어. 넌 공범 죽인 죄책감에 공범집에서 자살하는 거고 난 완전 무결한 피해자.
She was planning to finish him off with coal and had even written a suicide note, claiming Young-tae had killed the man and couldn't handle the police chasing him and the online hate, so he had no choice but to take his own life. But Young-tae didn't seem all that scared. He kept asking her why she killed that man. Sora didn't answer. She turned around and found the tiny camera. crushing it under her foot. Sora finally told him the truth. To her surprise, Yoontae just started laughing. Turns out, he'd already called the police. Enraged, Sora stepped forward and grabbed the man by the neck. At the moment, Officer Wu arrived in time. Sora was arrested on multiple charges. But what no one expected was Sora refused to confess.
뭐 하시는 거예요? 살쪄한 범인 놔두고 왜 저한테 그러세요? 저는 피해자인데. 왜 내가 벌을 받아요? 잘못한 거 저 새끼인데 왜 내가...
Then, she had actually gone so far as to gouge out the man's eyes. A year later, a man came to visit Sora in prison. Looking at the various reports on the table, Sora thought it was just another journalist trying to dig into her tragic past. So, she went on a long rant, focusing on the ugliness of human nature. Ironically, after listening to her, the visitor just asked,
근데 안에서 몸매 관리는 어떻게 하세요?
It turned out although Sora's image as a beautiful, kind-hearted girl had crumbled, the events surrounding her made her even more famous. This attracted the attention of a social media agency executive, who wanted to turn her into a prison influencer. Upon hearing this, Sora gave a weird smile. Meanwhile, Yoontae didn't escape legal consequences. He was sentenced to prison for voyeurism and theft. Today was his release day, and he thought his life would finally return to normal. But he forgot one thing. From the start, he was never an innocent victim. He was a criminal, a stalker, and a voyeur with perverse desires. The sins he committed out of selfishness would continue to haunt him throughout his long life.